Hello, I'm Ernest Levine with a new documentary series, Surviving a Revolution. Tonight we have a special interview for you viewers. The reporter Gertrude Goering will go and meet Napoleon, the retired leader of Manor Farm, the only farm owned and operated by animals only, to discuss his journey in the farm. This interview is all about how he survived and thrived the revolution.
Thank you for coming tonight to witness this historically pivotal moment. I can't wait to infiltrate the mind of the great Napoleon and see everything he has done and accomplished in his life. I'm Gertrude Goering.
Hi, it's a pleasure for you to meet me.
Okay, so let's get into this interview. Before we get into your survival and how you became the leader of Manor Farm, I want to know the background. When the revolution began and things started to look bad for Mr. Jones, I want to know what was going on through your mind. What did you think?
Well, all I knew was Mr. Jones was clearly the root of all of our problems, and that he needed to go for us animals to live a better life. I felt that it was my duty to aid my fellow comrades in regaining our integrity.
So after Mr. Jones was driven out, was becoming the leader your plan from the get-go, from the time that you heard Old Major's speech, or did it just happen? Like, when did you decide that you were going to take control and you were going to lead Manor Farm?
After Mr. Jones left, I knew that in order for my fellow animals to survive, they needed a leader, and I was the pig for the job. Old Major was simply the initial inspiration. The other animals naturally followed my direction because they knew that I had their best interest in mind, and they would not be able to function without someone to look up to. I took initiative and decided that would be me.
Now I feel like I know your mindset as the revolution was happening. I want to know how. If I were to put myself in the shoes of the mighty Napoleon, how would I do it? How would I become a leader of such a place like Manor Farm?
If you were trying to follow my footsteps, there are many things you would have to do. Firstly, establishing yourself as the dominant leader so the other animals know that you are not only to be trusted, but respected. You need to set the boundary of being the ruler so there's an agreement within your subjects that you are there to help and be one with them. You also need to be prepared to be selfless and make sacrifices. All good leaders are willing to do anything to better their people. The survival of the animals was my absolute priority, and I was successful, and they recognized that.
So after you had formed a relationship with the animals to get them to respect you, how did you know the animals would follow you? What did you do to prevent the animals from rising up, just like they rose up on Mr. Jones?
I knew the animals would follow me because of my ideologies that were in the best interest of them, and they could not refuse the undeniable help I was offering. I had instilled such a strong sense of respect towards me and them, so I knew that they would not deal with me the way they dealt with Mr. Jones, because he did not truly support the greater good of the farm as I did. For example, I provided them with suitable rations, unlike the abhorrent Mr. Jones, who did not provide the animals with the necessary nourishment and treatment. Also, the commandments that I constructed for the animals was unanimously met with agreement, and every animal felt that they were being provided with the good life they deserve.
After you did away with the traitors, like any good leader, how did you feel when Snowball betrayed you? How did it hinder your success as a leader?
Snowball was an absolute disgrace to everything I worked for, and his betrayal was something that affected every animal on the farm. His attempts to destroy the windmill and to rustle up trouble on the farm was something that we did not condone on Manor Farm. He was never a leader, and he was only thinking about himself, not the betterment of the farm. During the war, Snowball acted as a coward as he sided with the humans instead of the animals. He also caused disturbances to get revenge after he was exiled.
After everyone loved you and respected you, how did you make sure everyone believed you, even if what you were saying didn't sound like the best idea?
I knew that my charisma and leadership characteristics would bode well with the other animals, but I can also credit my most loyal followers. Those followers included the obedient dogs and my most trusted colleague, Squealer, who always made sure that my followers knew my intentions, and he kept them informed at all times. All my orders were issued through Squealer. Squealer would read out to the animals lists of figures proving that the production of every class of foodstuff had increased by 200%, 300%, or 500%, as the case might be. Also, with the example of Boxer, the animals saw a fellow trusted comrade, and since he believed, they believed too.
Okay, now that everything was working with the animals on the farm, how did you make things work economically on the farm?
In terms of economics, I made certain to develop strong relationships with the neighboring farms to ensure trade stability and also to have allegiances my farm could depend on. I made relationships that were very essential to the success of Manor Farm because it extended our resources and gave us the opportunity to capitalize on the needs of other farms as well as our own. My relationship with Mr. Pilkington and Mr. Frederick was absolutely brilliant of me because it was crucial to the farm.
Were there any times where you doubted yourself because things got so tough on the farm?
I never doubted myself because I was always confident in my choices and the leadership skills that were instilled within me. So I knew that everything that I was doing was for the animals was the absolute best possible thing for Manor Farm. In January, food fell short. The corn ration was drastically reduced, and it was announced that an extra potato ration would be issued to make up for it. Even then, I solved that problem, just like I conquered every other challenge that came my way during my rule.
Can you walk me through how the wars affected the way you ran the farm?
The war showed me who was truly in allegiance with me, and also showed who were the most devoted followers of me. The animals of Manor Farm were able to prove that we could manage ourselves, and that we did not need humans to help us run the farm. We used the wars to show our abilities and how we were capable to handle ourselves. For example, the bravery that Boxer displayed showed his complete and utter devotion to the animal cause. We used the wars as an outlet to display our true power and our motivation towards our total cause of Manor Farm success.
How did becoming president and leader affect the way you survived during the revolution?
Becoming president of Manor Farm affected my survival because I had my life in my own hands. That was important because I had control over my own life, and I did not need to rely on anyone else to find solutions because I knew what to do. I knew how to make myself survive because of my instinctive knowledge that led me to save the animals of Manor Farm. I constructed commandments that helped make this farm thrive, and it led to major success. I also taught the animals how to use human tools, which revolutionized the abilities of animals. And I started the farm from the ground, and I worked it up into a thriving society, which no one else could do but me, which is why I was the president and why Manor Farm was so successful.
My final question to you is this why you survived? Is becoming leader the reason you survived the revolution?
Surviving and being able to say I lived a good life when so many others either died or lived in poverty was because I was able to become leader. Survival to me is not simply living, but thriving, which is what I did. Surviving the revolution was only because I could rule the new farm. I was in charge of my own destiny. My survival proved to everyone, human and animal alike, the true power of Napoleon. Long live Napoleon.
Thank you guys for watching. I thank you, Napoleon, for coming and being on the show and I getting to interview you. I appreciate
You're very, very, very welcome.
And there you have it. The way to survive a revolution is by becoming leader. You can do this through propaganda like Squealer, loyal followers like Boxer, and just being a natural born leader. Thank you guys for watching.